Hello, welcome to Giant Parenting, standing on the shoulders of giants, learning parenting principles from successful people. Hello, this is Claire. How are you doing? In today's episode, we are going to continue the topic of practical implementations of personal care in the areas of dressing, washing, and potty training. The key principles of Montessori education is self-formation. It's the journey from dependent to interdependent to independent. So all areas of personal care is focused on this principle. So for all areas of personal care, whether it's dressing, washing, or potty training, we try to accommodate an environment to develop further the child's I can do attitude. Washing is a good exercise to help the child to learn the different names of body parts, which in turn develop their language skills. In addition, it is important to provide the message that not the parent washing the child, but the parent helping the child to wash themselves. This gives autonomy to the child so they know they are in control of doing the washing, so they will not resist it in order to take control. It also later on would help the parent to conduct potty training, because while washing you learn the correct way of naming body parts. Dressing is a very interesting activity. It seems that many parents would experience difficulties with dressing when the child is from 2 to 3 years old. Of course, we have not yet experienced this with Daniel, but I hope what we are doing now will lay a good foundation to avoid such an issue in the future. Like what I have said, key ingredient is to build the I can do attitude, the independent that a child is in control of conducting those activities of personal care, him or her. So we encourage Daniel to dress himself as early as possible.
Sala por arriba, eso es.
Wow.
Muy bien, bravo.
Of course, this normally would take a lot of time, but practice makes perfect. If he never tries, he would never develop the skills to dress himself in the future. It is important to let him know that he is in control of dressing, and Mama, Papa, and Gloria is only assisting him to achieve his goals. It takes out the need to protest for independence when they realize that they are already in charge of dressing. Of course, the extent to which a child can dress him or herself is totally dependent on their capability. But the key message stays the same no matter what. So it is the child who is dressing him or herself, and the adults are only helping them to achieve their goals. Of course, there will be days when he will simply refuse to dress himself or have any people helping him to dress himself. Then it would require the creativities of the parent to make it engaging and motivating for the child to make dressing as part of a game. Tricks which always works with Daniel is first to have 2 choices, which he can make a decision to say which he wants to dress himself. And another one is to make a fun game to race to say who can dress the first. Another activity which you can play together is to use dressing frames. They provide a fun way for children to practice dressing, such as doing buttons, zippers, buckles, ties, or laces. Last but not least is potty training. Of course, we have not yet started potty training with Daniel, so we don't have any personal experience to share yet. But there are a few principles which I have learned from the Montessori at Home course, which I know I would definitely like to implement when we are doing the potty training with Daniel. So as always, the key message is independent. Is to provide the environment so a child feels I can do this myself. So everything we do as a parent will either hinder or promoting the independence for the child. So it's very important to think about the environment which you create for your child to be able to conduct potty training. So we will approach this in 3 sections. First is the child's ability to know that they have a need to go to the potty. And second is to express that need to go to the potty. Last but not least is to have the ability to go to the potty themselves. So first of all, child to be able to tell that they have a need to go to the potty. So we do as a parents, we need to model everything. So it is important to share your toilet times with your little ones. So every morning when you go to the loo, you can have your child go with you to say, here is the toilet and mommy and daddy are sitting here to go to the toilet. It's a very normal activity of daily life, and there's nothing to feel worried or stressed about going to the toilet. And secondly is to make sure that they have the ability to feel, actually I do need to go to the toilet. So for moms out there who use sanitary pads, I am sure you would understand that nappies is kind of like a portable button warmer. You don't feel yourself wet unless it's time to get changed. So one trick which I have learned from the course is to put cotton undies inside the nappies. So a child would feel they have wet themselves, and to be able to tell actually that's a feeling which I need to go to the toilet. And to accommodate a child's capability to tell an adult that they need to go to the toilet, first, it's important to use consistent language. So do not give weird names to private body parts, just be normal about it. If they to tell them the correct name of body parts so they can express themselves, to say, mommy, I need to go wee-wee or poo-poo. And also the correct use of language will help them in the future when they go to nurseries to use the same language with nursery staff. And lastly, to create the environment so that once they have learned about potty training, they will be able to go to the potty themselves. So this is split into 2 parts. One is to have a potty at home, so it's easy access for the child, so they can go to the potty themselves without waiting for an adult to help them. Another section is to dress them appropriately, so they are easy to pull off their pants when they need to go to the toilet without waiting for an adult to undress them. So today is a very short video on some areas of personal care, on the areas of personal care. I hope you would enjoy this and share with me any advice or past experience with training your child in this. Thank you, and looking forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.